And back here live at CRS 2023, Brandon Morrell, of course, Kirsty Krause, and CJ Gart running around here. Thanks to our sponsors, Bangtail Whiskey, friends over at Honky Tonk, Texas, and Gentle Ben Spirits. We're pumping them out faster than you can download them today. Of course, they'll be archived up there on the sportsguyspodcast.com next week, because I'll be taking a vacation here in about 2 weeks after about 60 shows in the last 3 days. And I tell you what, one, she popped up here. I said I was going to squeeze her in. Kept my word a couple weeks ago. She's joining us here. Love her music out there. The single is Set in Stone. Kacy Moon to CRS. What's going on?
Not much. How are you?
It's my voice is recovering after a couple of days. A lot of water, a lot of cough drops,
and
everything else too. And everybody's flying in and out. Tracy Lawrence was here the other day. It was like,
that's crazy.
Wow, Arkansas.
I know. I've been watching. You've been like shuffling in and out.
It's quick. Hey, tell us about. We talked a couple weeks ago. You're excited about 23. Set in Stone is just the beginning. Tell everybody the goals and what you're looking forward to this year.
So I have a new single coming out March 31st. Pre-save is on Friday. It's called Wasting Miles. I'm super stoked about that. I wrote it with Styles Hari. We just had a big Luke Bryan cut, so I'm stoked for him. I have just new songs every couple months coming out, so I've got them all on deck, and I'm just ready to put out a bunch of music.
One of those that I love so much drew my attention to you is when I looked on your Instagram one day and I heard the song, something in the background, somebody mentioned it to me, was Just Being Honest. And I thought, man, your vocals were like smash on with that hit too. And the recording had to be as much fun as the writing. And did you write that? And if you did, that is a hit at country radio.
Thank you so much. I did. I co-wrote that with Ben Caver and Matt Broadway. It was actually my first co-write in Nashville. And I wrote that back in 2019, did the vocals in 2021, and then put it out into 22. So, it was a process, but
the fans like kind of gravitated to it. I heard some comments on just everything out there, people that have been through, rough relationships or rough experiences in life through partner, that kind of thing too as well. Did you get that kind of feeling when some of the comments were left on your social media that kind of, man, we really can resonate with this song?
Yeah, definitely. And, I love putting out music, obviously, that everyone can relate to. And I feel like it's something everyone's kind of been through, about just feeling distant from, your partner and the relationship, and knowing, it needs to end, but it's, so hard to kind of pull the plug sometimes. So,
Tell me about playing the live shows now that the floodgates are really open too. And I know Shannon Doe was telling us this morning, they're back on tour. They're doing things. They're playing with Billy Dean and Wade Hayes and doing the country comeback tour and still putting out new music 36 years later. And all the new artists are playing everything in this great city here this entire week. Where are you playing? I know you're excited to get back out there in front of the live audiences again, right?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, I've been doing a lot of rounds in town, Live Oak, and stuff. So I've got, some rounds coming up, and then especially with like new music coming out, just trying to play as much as I can. So the music out there.
Another one I loved in your catalog of songs, Mixed Signals.
Okay.
Tell everybody about Mixed Signals, because again, you got something there that again can really get the feel of a great country song and kind of get that part of just pull me in.
All right.
There's something there. Tell us all about Mixed Signals for folks that haven't heard it.
Okay, yeah, that one is kind of a little bit edgier, a little more of like a rock feel to it. I wrote it with my Canadian friends, Shantea and Melissa Flintstone. That one's just kind of like a fun song, just, pretty just about someone giving you mixed signals, but it's so fun to play live because it's just got so much energy. So I love that one.
You had another one, Easy. I want to talk about Easy here and kind of dive into it. I just dive into everything here on the show, too, deep into the pool here. But that's do your homework, kids, if you start a podcast. But it's another one of those songs that just, again, pull you in by the neck. Different feel to that one, too, as well. But lyrically, very good song.
Thank you. I wrote that with Blessing Offer, a good friend of mine. When I write with him, we're good friends, so it's almost like a therapy session in a way. So I just come to him with these ideas, or I'm like, I'm going through this, I need to write about it. So that's kind of what was going on there. And that one was produced by Jake Partial, and the guys at Saxman Studios did all the live instruments on that, and they're killer. So that one, I love that one too. So I'm just
love it too. And also love the EP you put out there.
Thank you.
2021. People kept busy during, I guess, the pandemic, whatever you want to call it, but it still affected people in so many ways.
Yeah.
How did you find yourself? Was it songwriting that kind of pulled you back in? As far as I know, the live shows were shut down, but you stayed busy with things like No Vacancy and the EP and putting out things through. How'd you keep yourself busy through that pandemic?
I mean, man, it was tough. Thankfully, I had a good friend of mine who I was living in LA at the time, actually, of the pandemic, and my producer of that EP was here in Nashville. So I was doing vocals with a friend of mine at a private studio where, everyone was being safe in quarantine and whatnot. And I would go in there and cut the vocals and like vocal edit with this producer in LA. We would send the vocals here to Nashville.
Mhm.
And then my producer here was like, putting everything together. So I mean, that was definitely a different experience, but it kept me creative and working and productive, so that was good.
Now we'll dive into this too, because this is where you really do your homework too. So I'm a third degree black belt in martial arts. We may have talked about this too.
Okay.
You've got some badass moves.
Thank
You could like be in a movie. She's like a kickboxer. She do all these kicks. I know we talked about one of your best friends actually pulled you into stuff like this too.
Yeah.
Tell the folks that story, because your videos you kick my ass.
Thank you.
I'm scared of her. I'm a third degree black belt in Taekwondo. So
I'm a second degree in Taekwondo. Yep. So I started.
That's probably get a lot too.
I started when I was 5. I am an 8-time world champion. I have 8 world titles. So I kind of competed on this team called XMA Extreme Martial Arts, and we traveled. We were sponsored by Century, and just did a bunch of competitions, and that was my whole life for years and years up until I started doing this. So
that would be a hobby outside of music. What else do you like to do when there's downtime?
When there's downtime, I guess back to my martial arts, I love just like working out, staying active. So anything, whether that's going to the gym or going on a hike or snowboarding or wakeboarding in the summer, basketball, anything, anything
now
active.
Are you living here full time in Nashville?
I am.
You
Yes,
are. Okay.
here.
I saw Shantae in the hall the other day.
Okay.
After the Brantley Gilbert thing,
Okay.
the Laney Wilson event last night, I ran into Brantley Gilbert, Shantae, all the stars were out last night too as well. So I got giddy at the time. We got to hang with Brantley Gilbert for a little bit.
That's awesome.
And just talk a little bit too as well. Growing up with the type of music that you listen to, kind of tell the folks what artists kind of struck you.
I mean, Shania Twain was a big one for me. Also Brooks and Dunn. And then on the pop side, I loved Britney and I loved Christina. And, so I kind of had a blend of like, the pop and the country. And I feel like now as an artist, I feel like I'm kind of, blending the two and staying true to kind of like what I grew up on and stuff like that. So
I love it too. Well, I'll tell you what, Set in Stone is out there across all the digital platforms. Make sure you guys go download that now. I know there's plans for more music coming up here real soon. Look for release dates. We're going to have her back, the one and only Kacy Moon here on the Backstage Pass, presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey, friends at Gentle Ben Spirits, and Honky Tonk Texas too as well. Some great news coming up here in a few weeks. The Swan Brothers coming on the show, coming up here in a couple of weeks too as well, and some more big stars that we're tracking down here, and more here at CRS 2023 Live in Nashville, Tennessee at the Omni Hotel. Thanks for being with us.
thank you for having me.
I'm so glad she came up here. We fit her in. Brett Kissel coming up here in just a matter of minutes. Stay tuned for a lot more coverage. Hang tight. More to come.